thing.
Did you see this? It's in the back. I mean, I don't know what to do with that. We have to see what the story is.
Yeah, I did see that, and there was one where I was gonna do a little more looking, and
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say we can't start. No.
why wouldn't we have considered that?
45, really? Like your half lane? Getting very sensitive as mine approaches.
I don't blame you. I'm feeling the same.
Mr. Page, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Board of Liquor License Proceedings for Baltimore City will begin. The board is now in session. Mr. Chairman, there being no preliminary matters, I'll call the first case.
Please.
But prior to that, if you're in possession of any type of electronic device, tablet, laptop, cell phone, please place said device on the off or quiet mode during proceedings. The very first case on the 11 a.m. docket, Ignatius Onyejaiko, DeFaso Trey Ara NS Inc., Trinez Ibis International Bar and Grill, 6014 Harford Road. It's the Class B
Postponed?
beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for a new Class B restaurant license. And the request is for live entertainment and off-premise catering. Please come forward.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant Ignatius Onyejaika.
Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Onyejaika will be testifying. Additionally, I believe that Ms. Onyejaika may testify, so I'd ask that they be sworn.
Okay.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You have to speak close to this microphone, please.
We do. I do.
Can't speak for her.
I do.
Okay. And do you have spellings?
I just need her first name.
Elizabeth?
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Onyejaika had applied for a transfer of a liquor license to this very location last year and was granted by the board that transfer. Unfortunately, they were not able to complete the transfer within 180 days, and administrative staff had determined that that was beyond the prescribed time under the statute, under the board's interpretation of that statute, and therefore the license was declared inactive. However, Mr. Onyejaika had put in over $250,000 in renovating the building in order to bring it up to the level it needed to be to serve as a restaurant, and indeed filed a Class B new license request. I have some exhibits for you today. The first, and I only unfortunately have one exhibit.
Just give them to Ms. Russell and
I
she'll.
will. I've given what I would hope that is introduced or received as the first exhibit are photos of the premises.
Okay.
The second exhibit contains multiple parts. The first, and I have courtesy copies should you be inclined to see them.
That'd be fine. Thank
Sure.
you. Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right, in the first part of what I'm asking to be received as Exhibit 2, Exhibit 1 being the photos, is the menu at Ibis International Bar and Grill, serving West African, Caribbean, Mombasa, and Malindi cuisine. Everything from stew goat to oxtails to other specialties and delicacies from around the world. After that menu, I believe I have an alcohol awareness certification for Mr. Onyejaika. After that document, there is an estimate from 2013 for $250,905.42 in capital improvements to the premises.
they completed?
They are. And in fact, after that estimate of May 13, you'll see 4 invoices and receipts for payments of amounts of $40,000, $55,000, $83,000, and $71,000 respectively towards the work. Now, something that I'll tell the board, especially as Commissioner Moore is looking at the photos in Exhibit 1, as I was going through they brought the photos with them today. And as they were going through the photos, I said, "Do you have photos of the kitchen?" And she said, "No, we didn't take photos of the kitchen." I said, "Okay, well, then you're going to have to testify about it because pictures are worth 1,000 words." But they'll explain to you what they've put into the kitchen, significant financially. And my final.
Was this a restaurant before?
No, it's never been a restaurant. It was a property. And Mr. Onyejaka, what was the use of the property previously? Come step forward. Step forward.
It was a warehouse.
Oh, I see.
And Mrs. Onyejaka is the licensee at a tavern next door. And the couple realized that they wanted to and had a market to branch out into food and into a restaurant for customers, folks from around different parts of the world originally. These are hard to find foods in Baltimore City. And so they believe they're bringing a service there.
Something unique.
Yes, and in fact, just so you know, the last part of the exhibit are several emails. I did get, Mr. Ackers was kind enough a couple weeks, the last time I think the board met, the 13th, or last time I was here, after my hearing was concluded, I think you all were meeting, and there was a postponement request for this case for the 27th from Harbel because I want to say Westfield Community Association wanted to know more about the plans. And there's an email chain here beginning on October 13th where I reached out to Mr. Kelly, who's the president or representative there from. He explained that they would be meeting on November 4th. And I explained to them what happened with this license, that these applicants have been waiting over a year, really about a year and a half from the time of the transfer or the time before the transfer, that they lost a license. They were trying to create a restaurant. They were approved by the board and they were approved by the community at that time. So there was some confusion
And the
of
delay
what
was
was going on.
occasioned by getting financing or something for the renovations?
Now, the delay was,
The delay was the building was
It
in
was
bad
slow.
shape, so it took us a minute to get everything together.
So the
And by the time
contractors went a little beyond the time.
that is
Now, that never happens.
It's a first.
Yeah.
and in any event,
Well,
Mr.
As far as Harbel and Westfield, have they indicated any specific kind of objections, or is it just that the trains haven't met?
They just, no, they have not indicated any support or opposition. However, the last way we left it was that Mr. Onyejaka is going to attend the November 4th hearing. But I explained to them that the way things are, if this case were postponed, it could easily be another month or more before we came back before you. And that I don't have any correspondence with them beyond the emails that I've provided. But I have reached out twice and said, we can do this before the 27th if you want to. And I haven't really heard back from them. So as I say, they've never caused any problems in the community. And they have with the existing tavern. They're well known, but they will be attending that meeting.
So if I may add, we are active members of the community. We attend all their meetings, and the previous license, they were with us. They gave us go ahead. They gave us the letter from Mr. Kelly, who is our president, and that letter was tended to Liquor Board. They have it. Liquor Board have the letter. But this second time around, the location where they normally have the meeting, they move from that location. And they have the meeting once every other month. So we haven't been able to get hold of them.
I understand. So, and your wife's place is next door or across the street?
There's an alley separating them, apparently.
Okay, and what is the nature of hers? Is it just a bar? Or?
It's a bar, it's a tavern.
Okay.
Yeah, and we sell food, curry chicken, curry goat, and some African dishes along with fried chicken, shrimps.
But she's going to put you out of business.
For the other way around. Sure.
At the usual place, we just sell basic food mainly, but now we're just going more traditional.
It's not as elaborate, I take it, as the restaurant. I said, what you serve is not as elaborate as what the restaurant is going to serve.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The restaurant planning to serve $30 isi iwu, which is goat head. So that's a very hard to find item in the city of Baltimore.
Now I'd
And
love-
not cheap either. So.
For good reason.
Commissioners, do you have anything further? to propose?
There's one further thing I'd like to say, and that is the applicants have spent more than the $250,905 on this. I just happen to have very concise documents to show that, but they have brought, between buying tables and everything you can imagine under the sun, they've spent about another $45,000, even going to flat screen TVs, and they have various receipts here to prove in excess of that $251,000. In addition, their contractor, the president of Urban Foundation Remodelers Incorporated, was supposed to be here this morning with the originals of the documents and answer any questions. He's apparently on his way, and he could pop in at any moment. His name is Mr. Nzikwe. He indicated he was very close. So if for some reason you wanted to hear from him at any point,
And the point of his testimony is to corroborate that he's done the
Exactly.
work?
Exactly.
Okay. Let me ask you, what's the staffing going to be at this restaurant? Who's going to manage it and who's going to work there?
I will, sir.
Do you, anyone else?
Me and my wife will. And we're reaching out to a chef, and he will come on board once we're ready, once we're out of here.
Are you going to have serving staff and cleaning,
Yes, yes,
busboys and that sort of thing?
yes.
Okay.
Everybody's waiting to, after today to, come on board, hired or not.
How many employees do you have at your place?
The current place is
You got to stop speaking for her.
Hi. The current place right now, we have 7 staffs.
Okay, have they been with you for a while?
Yes.
Okay, and do you manage it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do the commissioners have questions?
I do. What proof do we have of the payment and expenditures? I know you gave us a packet, and are there any actual invoices? And what do they
Yes, there's
amount
4
to?
invoices beyond the estimate. They all include paid. It says each of them have been paid, and the last one is dated March 5th, 2016. It says final payment for work completed and use and occupancy permit issued, paid in full, no outstanding balance. There's an invoice for May 5th, 2013, which I think was the first payment. Down payment for demolition, dumpster rentals, framing, walls, ceiling, electrical wiring, paid for down payment completed. And then there's third invoice dated December 15th, 2013 that shows paid for scope, completed, full payment for second draw, plumbing, mechanical, roughing, closing, storefront construction. And finally, there's a 5/3/2015 invoice noted paid in full scope of work, third draw, plumbing, finishing, bathroom finishing, kitchen completed. Additionally, I believe he's got some checks, some canceled checks in there.
What is the amount of paid expenditures?
Paid expenditures, as I was kind of implying, $250,905 to Urban Foundation Remodelers directly through the estimate and the 4 invoice receipts that I put in as Exhibit 2. And then further, I think I said it, another $45,000 in assorted expenses from chairs, tables, flat screen TVs, et cetera, and some of the furniture that you see in those photographs in Exhibit 1. So I would say, $296,000.
Are there any before photos?
There are not. If you want to speak about the condition of the property before?
The condition of the property is like a warehouse. They were using it for molding sculptures. So the lady is like an elderly lady. She used to be a landlady on the other building. So she was sick and she wasn't able to take care of the property anymore. So she wanted to sell it. So that was an opportunity for us to get it. Then the condition of that place is just beyond repair. It's like a dump when we went in there. Unfortunately, the pictures, I took the pictures with my camera and somebody stole my camera and I cannot get the pictures anymore. So that's why I don't have the pictures with me. Before pictures.
Okay. For me, when you're establishing a new liquor establishment in a community, I think it's really important that we actually hear from the community. And I understand the representations from Harbel, and there was a request that we postpone this hearing. But so what I want to know, and there's representations that there were previous approvals, that previously they had considered this transfer or this establishment. So do you have anything evidencing those prior approvals from Harbel or any other community in which this restaurant will be located?
Okay, ma'am. The community that we belong in is Westfield.
Said Westfield.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with Harbel. We belong to Westfield, and initially, Mr. Kelly, the association, met together and gave us approval. That was for the license that you
When you were going to transfer a
declined.
license.
Exactly. So, but this license, they changed the location of their meeting. It used to be held at Harford House. It's no longer there. They moved it to Harbel. That's where we have our association meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Mr. Kelly, we can't get hold of him, Mr. Kelly.
Well, let me just jump in here.
Sure.
Again, I think, in fact, I think the reason that you got the letter from Harbel, which of course is an umbrella organization that represents Westfield and many other associations, was because they weren't sure if this was the same project or some new project. And so and if you look at the email chain, that's the only correspondence whatsoever between them, me, and Mr. Kelly, the president of Westfield, indicating, once I explained to him what was going on and that this was in fact the same concept as last year, they said, we can meet, we can get together with you before the 27th, we can get together with you on the 4th, and then I'd heard nothing for 10 days. So on Tuesday, I believe it was, or was it Monday, I reached out and said, hey, just so you know, we're still willing to meet. So I would say, quite frankly, the silence of the community at this level, given those facts, indicates a lack of opposition to the request, since it's not the first time that this case has been on the rodeo. So,
Did you want to add something?
Yes. On speaking to Mr. Kelly from the last event, they were the one that sent the letter to the commissioner, and he was present from the last hearing. He was here with us. And when I spoke to him, and he's like, is it the same thing or it's just a change? I said, no, it's just the same building. There's no change. So I didn't hear back again from him, or if they are coming or if they're not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
all right,
Do you want to swear this gentleman?
thank you.
Raise your right hand, sir.
Please step up to the microphone.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Can you state and spell your name for me?
My name is Emeka.
Can you speak into this?
Yeah, loudly and slowly.
My name is Emeka Anthony Nzekwe from Urban Foundation Remodelers, Inc.
Now we have to spell it.
Oh, EMEKA.
K-A?
Yep.
Okay.
My middle initial is A, and my last name is Nzekwe.
All right, and it's Mr. Nzikwe?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Nzikwe, are you the president of Urban Foundation Remodelers
yes,
Incorporated?
Yes, I'm the president and owner.
Okay, and did you in fact perform substantial work for the property at 6014 Harford Road?
Yes, I did.
All right, and when did you do that?
I did it in May. We started in May, May the 5th of May of 2013. Yep.
All right, and when did you complete the work? This year, last year?
We completed the work this year. We did all our final inspections were this year. All the final inspections were this year.
All right, and if I'm showing you the same documents that I put into evidence here 4 invoices dated between 2013, 15, and 16. Did you create these invoices?
Yes.
And were you paid for the work done?
Yes, I was paid in full.
All right, you were paid in full, and how much was that?
It was 250 and 905.42.
Okay, and there was some question about what did the premises look like before you started the work? Can you describe it based on your memory?
Yes, it's an upstairs, like a first level building. So I did the demolition, right? We are going from Hartford Road. When you go from Hartford Road heading towards C0, going towards down like that, the building is one is on this side. The other restaurant was on. There's one on this side. There's the other one on this side. Then you go through the middle to get from the alley from the back to go into the main building. I did the storefront. I did the whole demolition. I completed the whole job there. Yep.
And was it a warehouse when you began?
I think, I'm not sure, but when I did the demolition, right, so there was like people that were occupying there before doing some kind of, I don't know what kind of, trade they were doing inside there, but I did the whole demolition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do the commissioners have questions?
Just a comment and a question. Based on the exhibit that was submitted, it does appear, to Mr. Fogelman's point, that there was outreach from Mr. Fogelman to Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly did respond. We'll be meeting on November 4th, but if you need to meet sooner, then we can accommodate. Mr. Fogelman did follow up, and just to circle back, there hasn't been a response yet, and you've tried. So I appreciate the request by the community, but it does appear that you've attempted to try and get something scheduled sooner. I think if you could just briefly summarize for me your request for live entertainment, because that may be part of the issue that the community is concerned about, because I know that there's a DJ and a small band, karaoke. So I want to make sure we're clear on what that is.
Currently, where we are now is just a tavern, and we have a high-risk food license, catering. What we are trying to do is, with the space that we have, we can cater for small wedding, birthday parties. So if you're having a birthday, you can bring a DJ in to entertain your crowd. If you're having a small wedding that can less than 100, you can come in and then entertain yourself. We give you the space and serve you the food, cater the food. And these are the opportunities that we are missing where we are currently. And we're trying to incorporate it to the new place, give people chance to celebrate their birthday, their wedding, and small events in there.
And I suspect this will be a point that you will raise with the community to ensure that
Okay, sir.
And you're going to be attending that meeting on November 4th,
Yes,
right?
I will definitely be there.
And make sure you're available to answer any questions at that time.
Yes, I will.
Anything else? Anything else? Okay. First of all, the exhibits that have been proffered will be received in evidence, and on the basis of those exhibits and the testimony of the individuals who presented this morning before the commission, and on the basis of the materials that were submitted beforehand with respect to the application for this license, I think that the statutory criteria have been satisfied in my estimation, so I would vote to approve the application.
I agree.
I concur as well.
Okay, and I wish you the best of luck with your new place.
Thank you, sir.
Some goat head for Commissioner Moore, she'll be over.
It's spicy.
My husband actually loves goat head. I didn't know this before I married him, but I know.
Exhibits in the record, because I'm
Yes.
still on the record now. It gets a little crazy
Yeah.
if we do this.
I'd like to call the exhibits for the record. Applicant's Exhibit 1, photos of the premise. Exhibit number 2 is menu. Number 3, alcohol burner certificate. Number 4, capital investment breakdown. And number 5 is various emails between applicant and community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And don't cry. This is a good result.
Come on, this way.
Thank you.
Congratulations and best of luck to you.
There you go.
Un Tech Sim and Saunter O'Neill, Biddle Group LLC, trading as Pratt Cut Rate Liquors, 2014 West Pratt Street. This is a Class A beer wine and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Identify yourself, please.
Good morning, Commissioners and Mr. Chairman. My name is Jay Yu, representing the Biddle Group LLC and the applicant, Ms. Chantre O'Neill and Mr. Untek Sim.
Can we ask them to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, I do.
You have their names?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Yu?
Thank you. This is a request for transfer of ownership located at 2014 West Pratt Street. It's trading as Pratt Cut Rate Liquors. Mr. Sim will be the owner and the operator. He will be the 99% interest holder and managing member, and Ms. Chantre O'Neill will be 1% interest holder and member.
How long has this liquor store been there? You know?
It's been about some time. It's been there 2 years.
The previous owner has been there at least 2 years, and before that, some substantial time.
And will there be any modifications to the place?
No, sir.
It's going to be the same operation with new ownership.
Exact same operation. No modification or alterations.
Okay. I might have interrupted you. Did you have something further you wanted to present?
Yes. Mr. Sim has about 7 to 8 years of experience running a packaged goods store, and he is certified with TIPS, but he will undergo another, which is due to expire in 2018. But he will undergo another training to refresh his memory in light of beginning this new business. Ms. Chantre is a qualified resident under this license, and she is Baltimore City resident, registered voter, and a property owner, and she has clean record, no criminal record or shares traffic records, and she has received a copy of the rules and regulations booklet, and she has underwent and she studied it, and she understands that her duties and responsibilities as a resident agent, that she, if called upon the board, she must appear, and that she has to oversee the operation of the business to make sure that all the rules and regulations are abided by. She owns a print shop right across the street from the location, so she will be visiting the location quite often, perhaps once a day, at least a few days a week, to make sure everything is going smoothly. Again, Mr. Sim has about 7 years of experience, and
has he done the alcohol awareness program?
Mr. Sim,
Yes.
he is TIP certified, but he will undergo another training to make sure.
And is he going to be the only one working there?
He and his wife will be helping him out, but he's planning on hiring somebody to do the stock and run the lottery machine and whatnot.
And Mr. Sim, where did you work?
I was in October, Edmondson Avenue. I
Edmondson.
sold the business last year.
Is that also a liquor store?
And the bar and
Bar.
liquor.
Okay. And have you had any difficulties with our inspectors or with the commission at that location? Any violations?
If I may elaborate, Mr. Sim has indicated that that there were 2 violations noted back in 2014, one in October and one in December. Both times his employees, I think from 2014 October, there was a BD7 violation where the inspector requested to enter the bar, but the door was not timely opened. And then in December, there was a Baltimore City inspection for minors, which the employee sold to the officer. So Mr. Sim, as a licensee, he attended the hearing and paid the fine, and he received 1-day suspension for the BD7 violation. The fine for the minor was $500.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions for the parties?
Can you tell us the circumstances of the BD7 violation?
Yes, I did print out the records of the hearing note from the liquor board's website. It seems that back in October 17th, 2014, a Baltimore City detective stopped by for the BD7 check, and he requested to enter the bar, but the employee notified the officer that the bartender is temporarily absent at the location, and he requested to wait for 30 minutes, but the officer thought that wasn't good enough, and a violation was cited.
Who was the employee?
Employee was Mr. Young Song.
So it was someone other than the applicant?
Yes, it was the employee.
Okay. What was the reason that the detective was not able to gain access to the tavern area?
According to the record, Mr. Song testified that he was working that night, and he was organizing the stock, and the bartender was going out on his lunch break, and there was no one to serve on the bar section. Mr. Sim at the time was in his office, and he didn't realize what was going on.
And the office was on the premises?
The officer?
The office.
Office, yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yes. And Mr. Sim testified that had he known that there was a customer at the bar, that he would come out and serve the customer, but unfortunately he was not notified by the employee.
Okay. And what were the and that's the violation that resulted in the 1-day closure?
Yes.
I think I remember this. I think I was here then looking for Ms. Witt for confirmation. So the second one was underage drinking.
Yes, that happened in December of 2014.
And can you talk to us a little bit about those circumstances? And the reason I'm asking is the only real question on a transfer really has to do with the background and experience and character of the person who is requesting the transfer.
This violation happened in October 16th, 2014, and Baltimore City actually is duplicate. Missing some documents. Please bear with me.
So can I just, while you're looking, does Mr. Sim still maintain that the violation for the BD7 was the fault of the employee?
No, he does not. He fully understands that everything is under his control and he's responsible for everything. And that's why before coming to the board, he asked me to actually prepare a guideline for the checking for minors. This particular location is not a bar, it's a packaged goods store. But nonetheless, he prepared a guideline for himself and also for any employee he may hire if time comes.
Okay.
Offer that to Ms. Russell.
So, and the license that is being transferred is a Class A, and there's no tavern component,
No.
correct?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes. So December 18th, 2014 was when the Baltimore City Police Department inspectors with a underage cadet came out and did a routine check, and one of the employee actually at the bar sold something to the cadet.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Mr. Sim is fully responsible for not controlling the employees, and he has a full understanding of that.
Yeah, 'cause, okay, not to beat a dead horse, but it's not just the control of the employees, but it's your patterns and your practices and your operating standards and procedures that are what's important with the liquor license. And so this Exhibit 1 is intended to sort of set out,
Yes.
at least in terms of underage or sales to minors, what needs to be done. Is that correct?
That's true.
Okay.
And
Those are all the questions that I have.
Yeah, I think just
Sure. Oh,
piggybacking on
sorry.
Commissioner Moore's point, I'm looking for some assurance that we're not going to see you back on a violation, which I don't want to happen. Some assurance that, that there will be, appropriate training for employees, that there's some assurance that, if there is an office that's not close to where the cashier is, that there's a camera, that there's something that, based upon the fitness of this applicant, there's a history. And so I want some assurance going forward that there won't be any issues in terms of violations.
The difference between the Uptown Bar and this particular location is that this is much smaller operation. This is pretty much a husband and wife. It will be husband and wife operation. They may hire somebody to do the stock and run the ladder machine, but mostly it will be Mr. Sim who will be personally serving the customers, personally taking the orders, and his wife will be. So both he and his wife will undergo another alcohol awareness training to refresh their recollection and memory of what needs to be done each time they serve a customer. And if they happen to hire somebody, he'll make sure that they're also alcohol awareness certified and make sure they sign that piece of paper and hold them responsible so that they will abide.
Nothing further.
Quickly, what was the reason for closing the business last year?
He sold the business.
He sold the business. Do you know why the decision was made to sell the business?
I believe he ran the business for 5 years and he just got tired of that, business. And running a bar is not an easy task, so he wanted to scale down. He felt that the hours are extremely long from morning to 2 in the morning. It's just 7 days. For 5 years, he worked 24/7 pretty much, and he got burnt out.
Okay, thank you.
I have a petition from the patrons who has signed the.
You may offer it.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Yu?
Yes, this is a location that is in a commercial district, and it's in a conforming use, and also Mr. Sim and Ms. O'Neill, I believe, is a qualified individuals to be granted liquor license, and Mr. Sim will do his best to abide by all the rules and regulations.
Okay. The commission will receive the 2 exhibits that have been offered. And with respect to the application for transfer of the Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, having heard the testimony and having reviewed the exhibits and the other information contained in the application, I am satisfied that they qualify for the transfer of the license, and I would vote to approve it.
Do you want to go?
Sure, I would concur. I do hope that you will live by the standards of that document, the one exhibit that you'll give to employees, and, I would concur.
I'm hesitant, which is why I asked to go last, because it really doesn't matter how I vote, because you've got the license. But I'm going to vote what I think is right, and I'm going to say no, because of the history of the prior violations and, his own decisions to get out of the business, and it does not seem to add up to me to go back into the business. So I say no.
Okay, it's a 2-to-1 decision. The license will be transferred. Thank you. Good luck to you, and please be careful.
Mr. Yu? Does someone like to call the exhibits for the record? Application Exhibit 1, alcohol and beverage sales guidelines, and Exhibit number 2 would be to petition of support. Thank you.
Mr. Page?
Fair Carolyn, Cristo Bruno Rossi, and Michelle Mavius, Lilac Inc., treating as Lilac, 1801 East Lombard Street, This is a Class BD7, Beer 1 liquor license. An application to transfer ownership and location of the Class BD7 Beer 1 liquor license presently located at 1725 Funkerbird Pass to 1801 East Lombard Street. Please come forward.
Good morning.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Carolan?
Catalan, yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants. To my right is Mr. Kafir Catalan, one of the proposed licensees.
Mr. Previous, I have to ask, as a preliminary matter, because on my conflict check, the name Lilac popped up in many different forms. Has your client or the organization ever been represented by White for Taylor Preston?
No, Your Honor, it was recently created.
Okay.
There was a Lilac LLC. If you look at SDAT, this is Lilac Inc. I also have a preliminary matter. Unbeknownst to me, the premises has been operating without a liquor license as a breakfast and sandwich establishment since May, and their trade name is Canella, and they were having trouble with their vendors when they sent checks that said Lilac, so they did a name change to Canella, C-A-N-E-L-A, on the SDAT very recently, and I just found out about it before this morning, so I apologize. But
So, I'm sorry, what's the name of it?
C-A-N-E-L-A.
Canella.
Canella.
So it's not going to be Lilac.
Yeah, it's both the trade name and now the corporate name are Canella, C-A-N-E-L-A.
And is it a pub?
It is a breakfast sandwich establishment here, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. That also allows you to have a beer with your breakfast?
That's the proposal. If I may, by way of going over there is a memorandum of understanding that kind of hones things in and explains it. So if I
Okay.
could just go through the fine points
Sure.
without going through where it mirrors the rules and regulations, and then I'll explain a little bit about how the establishment runs now. There is a memorandum of understanding that has been executed with the Upper Fells Point Improvement Association with regard to 1801 East Lombard Street. Some of the high points are that the establishment's hours of operation will be 6:30 a.m. and close no later than 9 p.m., 7 days per week. Establishments shall turn off all music by 9 p.m. and close by 9 p.m. every night of the week and weekend in accordance with their license. Establishments shall package all items that are to be sold in paper bags. The establishment shall not sell miniatures, 750 milliliters, 1 liter, 1.75 milliliters bottles of liquor or singles, for example, 40-ounce beers at any time for carryout. No music of any kind will be played after the hour of 9 p.m., includes CDs, iPads, digital music, or jukebox. There will be no lottery, there will be no karaoke, no disc jockeys, no dancing, no live music, no live entertainment. All doors and windows shall be kept closed during hours of operation, and the volume level of all sounds emanating from the premises shall be kept in a not to exceed local ordinances. They would have security as necessary and upkeep the establishment. There are no promoters. There is no valet parking. One thing I want to explain is they have been approved by zoning for outdoor table service. We do not have outdoor table service on this request, and the licensees or the applicants fully understand that if they intend to request outdoor table service for liquor sales, that they would have to come back at another time. This license is coming from another establishment that's closed, and it was kind of critical to, if the board approves this, that it be done timely, and then we could worry about other things later. But the life of the license is somewhat an issue. With that said, I would like to ask to offer as Exhibit 1.
It will be received.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Just a point of clarification, you mentioned live entertainment?
No live entertainment.
No live entertainment.
No live
That
entertainment.
request was not made, okay.
Yes. Sorry about that.
But it's in your MOU.
Yeah.
It's in the MOU, no live entertainment.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No, okay. Exhibit 2 is a petition of neighbors, and I must say these are, I believe, all neighbors that live within a very close radius of the establishment, who offer their support and public need and evidence that this place was not a disturbance to the public peace. If I may offer that.
That'll be received.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Catalan, the information in the application has been submitted. Other than the name change, nothing else has changed. Is that correct? The Lilac Inc. is now Canela Inc.
Yeah.
But everything else is.
We changed the address of the office because it used to be on Pratt. Now it's the address of the
Of the
location.
premises.
And we-
Okay. But in your liquor license transfer application, all that information is accurate and it hasn't changed but for the name. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'd asked you to bring a menu with you, but you brought it on your phone. And could you just briefly describe your menu?
Yes. So we serve in the morning. We serve. We have a very rich coffee bar. Lavazza coffee. And we
Different varieties of coffee?
different varieties of coffee. We have a smoothie bar as well. We serve pastries and bagels. That's in the morning. In addition to that, we have 4 different types of egg tucks. So egg sandwiches with bacon, turkey sausage, sausage or turkey bacon. And we have 4 different sandwiches. That's for the morning. Around 11, I would say between 11 to noon, we change to kind of more lunch. We add around, I would say, 4 to 5 more sandwiches and like 4 more salads to the menu.
Okay.
Could you just briefly describe, read off your sandwiches so they get the idea?
The menu is primarily, I would say, Mediterranean. I'm originally from Israel, and the 2 other partners, they're Italian. So it's Mediterranean and American. So we have different sandwiches, like we have 8 different sandwiches, all of which are different from one another. So one is would be the smoked salmon, the other one would be a vegetarian, the third one would be an avocado BLT, the fourth one would be an Italian prosciutto sandwich. Another one would be with turkey and with on a panini. Another one would be a kebab.
You've got to stop. It's getting close to the lunch hour, and I'm really.
When I saw this menu, I'd say you have to describe this to the board.
We need to get people
Thank
to
you.
start bringing samples
Right.
when they go.
Okay. Now the premises is quite small. Is that correct? Seats about 30 people,
Yeah.
not including any outdoor table service.
Yeah.
And you have the 3 of you, the proposed licensees, and no more than 4 people working at any one time.
Right now, yeah. Right
Okay.
now it's 4 people.
And you opened in May of this year.
Me.
And
May
you
11th.
have you been received by your neighbors?
Yes, they actually, the reason why they signed it because we received great feedback from all the neighborhoods, and they were willing to consider, and that's how we came with the memorandum of understanding.
Okay. And what kind of briefly what kind of alcohol are you going to add to this, being a breakfast and lunch place?
I would say mainly beer and wine. Based on the memorandum of understanding, we can serve liquor, but we cannot sell it.
Off sale is what you mean,
Off sale, yeah.
right? Okay. So it would just be to accommodate the sandwich menu.
Yeah, and right now, like we said, it's until 9 p.m. So probably the main consumption will be in happy hour, 5 to 8.
And what is your background? Is this your first venture into the restaurant business, or have you done it before?
No, it's my first. The building is mine.
The other 2 licensees, Ms. Krista Bruno Rossi and Michelle Mavius, who are actually working right now and full understanding that we were having this hearing, have substantial restaurant backgrounds, including Pazzo Luna that used to be in South Baltimore, and they also have substantial alcohol backgrounds, and they understand, and they're all going to take the alcohol awareness and make sure that that's current and valid before this license is issued.
Okay. Commissioners, you have questions?
No questions for me.
I just have a comment. Thank you for the MOU.
Thank you.
I appreciate you engaging the community, and this is a community that is very engaged in Upper Fell. So I encourage you to remain engaged with the community. They're very active, and so for that, you know, I applaud you and good luck.
And the MOU will be part of the license, is that
Yes.
correct?
You understand that the conditions stated in the MOU will be restrictions on your license, and you agree to that, is that right? Thank you.
And clearly understand that the MOU is attached to the license. They are one and the same.
Right.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Priebus?
No,
All
no,
right,
sir.
on the basis of the evidence that's been presented, the testimony presented, the support of the community, the satisfaction that the community organization has reached an agreement with the licensee, I'm satisfied that the statutory criteria have been met, and I would vote to approve the transfer.
I concur in approving the transfer.
I agree as well.
Thank you
So,
very much.
good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
both
you very much.
exhibits for the file.
Try the goat's head sandwich.
Exhibit. Oh, thank you.
There.
Still on the record.
Yeah, still on the record.
And call Exhibit 1, applicant's Exhibit 1 would be the MOU between Upper Fells Point Improvement Association and the applicant, and Exhibit number 2 is petition of support. Thank you.
Jennifer McComas and Joshua Forte,
Schedule. Did you have an
Cherubis
extra one today?
LLC, trading as Riley's Oyster, 36 East Cross Street. This is a Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to add live entertainment. Please come forward.
I gave
Morning.
mine to the city.
Good morning.
I forgot.
You want to
Been able to arrive, and I'm here with the Federal Hill Neighborhood
Yes,
Association.
how are you? Good
Good
to
to
see
see
you,
you.
absolutely.
Mr. Fogelman, you want to identify yourself?
Yes, thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicants.
I also have a preliminary in this one. The names Jennifer and McComas showed up a little bit on my conflict sheet. Do you know whether she's ever been represented by my law firm?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
She's taking care of children today. Unfortunately, she's not here. Mr. Foti is here, but I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, can you have Mr. Foti, and would you also raise your right hand if you're going to testify?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you say it into the microphone?
I do.
Okay. And do you need her name?
Hi. My name is Brooke McDonald, McDonald. I'm Vice President of the Federal Hill Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
With an E on Brooke or no E?
Yes, BROOKE.
Okay. Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, thank you very much. The file and the application, in some respects, should speak for itself here today. We had unanimous consent by BMZA to add live entertainment to Riley's, an institution now that's been around for over a decade.
Is this the same place that's in Timonium?
Yes, it is. Well, it's one of a group of restaurants. We don't say chains anymore. It's a group of restaurants with the location there on Cathedral Street. The address is Cathedral Street, Timonium, and indeed the original on Cross Street, which used to be Hugh Sisson's Brew Pub back in the day. So, I want to say before we go any further, because I have one single UNO exhibit here today, and that is a memorandum of understanding between the applicants and the Federal Hill Neighborhood Association and the South Baltimore Neighborhood Association. I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, the volunteers like Ms. McDonald and Beth Whitmer, the FHNA president, for coming together and spending the time to work these things out. We're grateful for their time. We're grateful for the work also of SBNA President Michael Murphy in that regard. And we're very excited going forward. And the live entertainment has been thoroughly detailed and prescribed, the times and days that it's provided for. I'm going to go ahead and put in a copy for the file.
I think it's already in the file, isn't it?
It is.
It may be, but
Because we submitted it.
it's
Oh, I'm
it's
looking
going to be
for it.
received as part of the evidence, yes. And Mr. Foti appreciates the fact that if the request to add live entertainment is granted, that the MOU will be part of that license?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Ms. McDonald, thank you for being here. Do you want to add anything other than that your association is a party to this?
Well, we wanted to make sure it was attached to the file and that it was, because we worked really hard on making sure that the times weren't going to really affect the residents in the area. So we want to make sure it was all in there.
But you're satisfied with what you've worked out?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have anything?
I just, in reading the BMZA file or ruling, there were certain restrictions placed on the application for live entertainment, and you acknowledge those and agreed to abide by those restrictions as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's the only question I had.
I have nothing.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for the work with the Community Association to work this out, because this, of course, could be a source of real conflict if it wasn't in a detailed fashion like this. I am satisfied on the basis of the evidence presented that you've met the criteria for approval of a live entertainment license, and this MOU will be a part of it and impose restrictions on that license, but I would vote to grant it.
I agree. I join in granting, and it's largely because you have the agreement with the Federal Hill Neighborhood Association, and the document speaks to lots of hard work. So
I concur.
Good luck to you.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
enjoy.
Have one exhibit for the record.
Here
It's
you
an
go.
MOU between South Baltimore Neighborhood Association and Federal Hill Neighborhood Association and the applicants. Thank you.
Christopher Noese and Miserable Chateau, Taste International, Inc., trading as Taste International, 4314-16 Curtis Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for a hardship extension. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing the licensee applicant, the new purchaser of the building, and the possible contract purchaser here.
Good morning, Mr. Kadensky.
Morning.
Can we ask them to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
That's the first time I had one of those.
And you need their names?
Just this gentleman's.
Ferdinand F. Greff, Greeff.
Hold on, what was that?
Ferdinand, Ferdinand, middle initials F. Greff, Greeff.
Thank you, Mr. Graff. This is a request for a hardship extension.
That's correct. The last time the business was operated, but excuse me, by Mr. Nawazi, was on March 26th of this year. He closed the business, had a sale pending to Mr. Greff. In the meantime, it hasn't been able to be completed. There was a lot of renovation that had to be done in the building. He put a $20,000 roof on. There were a couple other prospective purchasers that were to come in and have fallen through. So in an abundance of caution, although they're trying to market the property right now to complete the transfer, they need some additional time. Mr. Billig from AJ Billig is trying to assist them and gone ahead and have the business and the property both sold after Mr. Greff has done some work. We have, I had an affidavit by Mr. Nawazi saying that he was open on March 26th. The board verified that. I think your inspector was out there. So he would just need an additional time, thinking that probably by the end of the year they'll have they'll complete the transfer and the sale.
Auction the property, is that what?
They were trying. The problem is, I don't know whether, I hate to use it, I could use the same terminology. We have a lot of people, they have all the case of the shorts, which means when they put their hands in their pockets, they don't have anything.
So they're interested, but then it turns out that they really can't afford to do it.
I'm interested in a lot of things, but it doesn't mean I can make it that way.
Are the renovations completed at this point?
The roof has been completed. He put $20,000 into the roof, and then some of the other renovations in the inside. No changes the way it was set up, just with some things that are really needed because the roof was really in bad shape.
So if you had a ready buyer, you're ready to sell?
We got somebody here. I'll take a bid today.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners?
So, could you just, in a few words, say what the hardship
The hardship is this, the last asset has to be transferred with the license, and otherwise there'll be a loss for both Mr. Nawazi and for Mr. Greff in the case that of a place that was otherwise operated. The board has the records on taste for a while, and I think there was a thing where they wanted to see the property moved and sold and the license sold.
I have no question.
I would vote to approve the hardship, the extension.
I agree.
I concur.
I had an affidavit here, but since Mr. Nawaz is here, I won't have any exhibits.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Ming Hung, Broadway Group LLC, trading as Rye, 807 South Broadway. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. An application request for hardship extension. Please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning. Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg, on behalf of Min Wong and Broadway Group LLC. I'm joined by Mr. Wong here this morning.
Good morning. The term Rye also had many hits on my conflict sheet. Have they ever been represented by Whiteford, Taylor, Preston?
Rye is actually not involved in this at all. They had been the bar that was operating at this location. They have no interest in the liquor license and are not a party to this at all.
Thank you. So this is a request for hardship extension, and can you give us the background?
Yes, of course. Mr. Wong and Broadway Group purchased the property and the liquor license back in 2013. At the time Rye, the bar, was operating at that location, they continued to operate after Mr. Wong acquired the property. And Rye terminated its lease and left on March 8th of this year. So they are shut down now. There's no one operating at this location. We did renew the license in May, and we filed the hardship extension application on September 1st. We've been making diligent efforts to market the license and the property to a new tenant. We had one tenant or potential tenant who we were very close to a lease with, but those negotiations fell apart, and they're not pursuing that route any longer. But we have interest expressed by several other potential tenants. We've been showing the property. It is listed, and we are optimistic that we'll be able to find a new tenant to take over the operation of the bar, either to purchase the liquor license or rent the space with the use of the liquor license. And we therefore would request an additional 180 days to continue to pursue those leads.
Commissioners? Any questions?
I'll pass.
I have no questions.
Okay, on the basis of the proffer from council and the letter in the record and the background that you've provided us this morning, I would vote to approve the hardship extension.
I agree.
All right, hold on. So you actually filed the application on the 180th day?
I believe it was a few days before. By my math, the 180th day would have been September 4th. We filed the application on September 1st.
On September 1st, okay. Hold on just a second. Okay. So it was 177 days. Okay, I approve.
3-0.
As a housekeeping matter, we were advised that the Liquor Board's records indicate that the Broadway LLC is no longer in good standing. We have corrected that, and I do have a good standing
Give it to Ms.
certificate
Russell,
for your
please.
file.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And we have one exhibit for the record. The letter of good standing, Advocates Exhibit 1. Thank you.
Virginia Anderson, Sportsters, Inc., trading as Characters Corral, 2148 Wilkins Avenue. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. A request to reopen and close for 3 consecutive months, and a request for hardship extension. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing Mr. Anderson.
And can we ask her to raise her right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Ms. Anderson, before you begin, have you ever been represented by Whiteford, Taylor, and Preston?
No.
Okay. You were on my conflict. But there are many people with your name, so it doesn't necessarily mean you.
True.
This is a request to reopen and also for Harsh because they were too close to the time when they were found. Miss Anderson is a surviving spouse for her husband. The family's owned that property, owned the business since 1990. Husband passed away, and she had been running the business. Came sometime in end of March or April. The gentleman who was helping her lived upstairs. He passed away. She tried to operate it for a couple weeks on her own. She was not able to do it. She had to close it. She had a couple of prospective purchasers that wanted to buy it, but they'd only buy if the place was open again. And at this point, she had come across a purchaser, but the purchaser said, "I'll only do it if the place is open." So she reached out. And all these people here in the neighborhood, these are neighbors living on the same block. They came down in favor for the reopening. If you all want to stand up there, and I'm not going to, unless you want to swear them in. They're here. They live across the street. Gentlemen over there, all here in favor.
Let's let the record reflect there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individuals who have appeared. And rather than have you all testify, is there anybody here who opposes the reopening? Okay, thank you.
And basically, the request is to allow her to reopen, so then she can then move on and sell it. And then this will be the last asset of her family, so she can then. And she has a prospective purchaser who really wants to get in there at this point, and the people want to see it reopened.
Okay, commissioners?
No questions.
Questions?
On the basis of the information that's been provided to us and the unfortunate circumstances that lead you to this situation, and appreciating the support of all the individuals who are willing to come forward on your behalf, I would vote to approve the reopening and the hardship extension.
Okay?
I agree.
I agree as well.
Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I hope the sale goes through.
Well, we've made a few people happy today.
Yeah, we really have.
Troy La Prada Lounge at 148 LLC. Tavern at 148 Southeast Avenue.
What a
This is a
crew.
request to reopen after being closed for 90 consecutive days and a request for hardship extension. Please come forward.
Again, for the record, Melvin J. Kaneski, 1986 Fayette Street, representing the licensee. This is similar to the case that you had in front of you a few minutes ago. Mr. LaPrade had an individual who was actually, and he lives right down the next block. He lives in the 200 block of, so he's a local that was going to buy, and he went all the way up to the end of April where he was operating, and then the contract had fallen apart. He then waited and came in to pick his license up, which passed more than 90 days. Everything is in the board files for him to open it up, and he had to request to reopen. He reached out to his neighbors, and I do have as an exhibit, and I'll submit, actually 2 times I have this. This is unusual. Because I think it was in there earlier, I'm going to submit as an exhibit number 1, a letter from the Patterson Park Neighborhood Association signed by Patrick Lundberg in favor of the reopening, and there's probably 8 or 9 letters of support from people in the neighborhood. I'm going to just give you one exhibit. It's easier than that. That won't confuse everybody. I have a prior letter from the Patrick.
We can handle 9. We can handle 9 pieces of paper without getting confused.
That's not, but this is another 20.
We can handle it, really.
It's a very sophisticated
you know,
agency.
Thank you for looking out for us.
You might find it hard to believe, but I am on your side. Okay.
We're a little addle-brained, I guess.
August, and I have another letter, earlier letter from Mr. Lundberg from August 29th, because at the time we weren't sure when you're going to do your hearing. And there's probably another 25 letters of support from people in the neighborhood in favor of the reopening. I just submit this as one exhibit if I can.
You couldn't just get those 7 people to say that they were in support of
Stay.
Yeah, I could give that. Let's try to use that. Don't go. Please
They're
stay.
all related to you, aren't they, Mr. Kaneski?
I'll tell you a story.
No, you didn't.
We're all God's children.
Yes, I understand. Those exhibits will be received. Do the commissioners have any questions?
But there's also a request for hardship extension.
Well, because
did we talk
because
about
of the
that?
period of time,
Yeah.
you know, if he reopens, then we don't need it. He's ready to go down and pick the. He went down to pick the license up the other day, and he actually had real money too, which I thought was.
As in cash?
Well,
Yeah. What's
I don't know that Ben Franklin was available at that time, but
This
he
is
had
the
a check.
same letter.
Okay.
So if he did that, he don't need the other part, it was just a question of what, and he has another prospective purchaser he wants to work with.
So you're asking for the right to reopen.
Correct.
Okay, no. Okay.
I would vote to approve the right to reopen.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Good luck to you, sir. And I believe that's our morning. Do we have exhibits to read for the
Oh,
record?
yeah. Sorry.
One licensee exhibit number 1, various letters of petition and support. Thank you.
And that would be our morning docket. We'll see you at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, you had 1801. No, does anybody remember, what was it, 1801, the one
We're off the
Mr.
record.
Previous is? It's Dabrowski's Polish Village.
Oh, was it?
Eddie Dabrowski was in the House of Delegates for many, many, many years.
I remember him.
He was actually my father's best man at his wedding. My father was, so.
And he
another
was the
little-
one that provided the alcohol, right?
A relative of Bernie?
Father was in the bar business. I don't think they needed it. I got a good bootlegging story.
Related to Bernie?
Ernie Dabrowski, the big duh?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
From Green Mountain Avenue?
Oh, wow.
No, I went to school with the big duh.
I know.
Yeah. Well, boy,
Here you go, Mr. Kadeski.
a dime.
Mr.
Yeah.
Kadeski.
I know.
Mel.
Mel?
You don't want your slip?
Of course you do. Have to pay the fee.
So we're starting at 1.
You ready?
Just waiting for Bryson.
Bryson.
Good afternoon. This is the afternoon docket of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. This is the violation docket. Before we call the docket, if you have a phone or other electronic device, please shut that device off or put it on mute. I'll begin with the first violation. When called, please step up to the podium, state your name into the microphone, and if you're going to be giving testimony, please be prepared to be sworn in. First violation is Christian Rugel and Carlos Sotelo, Amigos Bar Incorporated, trading as Amigos Bar, 400 South Eaton Street. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 4.14A and B, live entertainment without authorization. All interested parties, please step forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensees.
Good afternoon. It's going to be an admission or a contested case?
Mr. Chairman, I most respectfully would request a stay under there are unusual circumstances of this particular violation. The licensee.
I'm sorry, but when you say a stay, what do you mean?
Okay. The licensee, the violation is providing karaoke without liquor board approval. The licensee has obtained the use and occupancy permit, but has not yet filed the liquor board application. And there is precedent for this for Walt's Cafe, where it was a similar circumstance where there was a violation for karaoke, and they were allowed to go ahead and proceed to get their proper zoning and liquor board permission to do so.
Well, you know, I don't think that there's anything about this that would prohibit him from proceeding to try to obtain the proper authorization.
There isn't. I just, because the board had proceeded in that fashion previously with another licensee.
Was it this board?
I think so.
Well, it was this board, but that was a licensee who had absolutely no history of violations.
Okay.
And she,
Oh, no.
yeah, and we all said that we appreciated her having a karaoke bar, but she should not allow any of us to come in and sing because we can't. But her record was completely different. It was completely clean.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
And I also believe we found her in violation.
We did.
Okay.
So anyway, the stay is denied, but
With that
how
said,
would you like to
I
proceed?
also want to inform the board that I just received this morning a reported decision for this client in the Court of Special Appeals. In your notes, it says that there's an appeal pending.
Oh.
And the Court of Special Appeals affirmed as to the daylight saving time issue and reversed as to the dancing issue, and remanded for a new, I don't know if you say sentencing, but
And was
sanction
that,
hearing.
were those violations that occurred with this board?
No, with the,
Yeah.
with the
Okay,
two
because I wasn't,
previous boards
I didn't
ago.
remember that one.
No.
Okay,
So,
I don't know what that has to do with this, but
the prior history.
yeah. Okay.
Also, I ran back to my office to read the decision as quick as I could when I just found out about it.
They're not worth reading anymore. Some of the better judges are gone. I'm joking.
It was pretty good.
I'm kidding. I'm
Leave a
teasing.
copy.
That I did not mean that.
You
We're gonna
failed
get-
to take the bait.
We're gonna
You
get
have to-
reversed again.
Anyway, do you want to go forward with contested case, or are you going to admit the violation?
We stipulate to the facts.
Okay. And in mitigation?
The licensee has been working with me to obtain the permit. There was some confusion, and I may have been part of the confusion, and I apologize to the board for that. And it has to do with the definition of live entertainment. The liquor board did not have a definition in its rules of live entertainment until January of this year. The liquor board adopted the definition that is in the Baltimore City zoning code for live entertainment to include karaoke. Prior to that, there was the only place that the mention of live entertainment was in Article 2B, was that in order to provide live entertainment, you had to request a hearing before the board. And that was a result of the Kisling's case that I believe was Mr. Kadensky did in 1999, but they didn't define live entertainment. The zoning board in 2004, when they expanded live entertainment for conditional uses, provided what I believe is the current definition that includes that live entertainment includes entertainment performed live, including a DJ and karaoke. There is a footnote in the Planning Commission's comments to that to the proposed legislation, indicating that the zoning board had customarily allowed karaoke prior thereto, even in zones where live entertainment was not permitted, and that they should continue to do so. So there was some confusion. I could argue, but I'm not, that the liquor board, in promulgating the rule to include karaoke as live entertainment, because it's not entertainment, it's anti-entertainment, went beyond rulemaking
Depends on who's
power
singing.
and went into legislating. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say that this gentleman, I told him that they could dance in there based on his use permit. They couldn't do live entertainment, and I didn't specify the karaoke and the DJ issue. We're at a point now where he did it without checking with me before the rules. I think he would have been okay. We should have gone to the board first, and we asked for time to do
Yeah, I
that.
think the harsher reading of the rule, including karaoke, may have been a result of your late brother's performances on a regular basis. But in any event, putting that aside, and God bless him.
He knew every word. He knew every word. Couldn't carry a tune in a bag.
There are worse offenses in the world than bad singing, but it is a violation of our rules. So
Understood.
Do commissioners have a question?
No question.
Okay.
With regard to the prior history, the initial there was something about a trader's license. In prior boards, they would allow you to pay a fine without a hearing for a trader's license. I don't even know if it's on this worksheet. It showed up in the prior hearing. There was one of those, and then there was purchasing alcohol outside of from another retail dealer. And then there was the daylight saving time case. And then subsequent to that, there was, I believe, another staying open after one, and now we're here.
And how long has this gentleman had the license?
2011, I believe.
Okay. First of all, based on his admission and on the facts that you've stipulated to in the record, I would find that there was on August 6, 2016, a violation of Rule 4.14A and B, live entertainment without authorization. And I think I'd like to hear what my colleagues have to think about the appropriate sanction.
Well, so it's like every 10 months you're here. Do you realize that? So let me just remind you. You were here December 11, 2014. There was you came before the board for violations, and then you came back October 3, so that's 10 months. Oh, no, you came back August 2015, so that's about 8 months. And then you're back October 3, 2016. So you're here too much. You're just here too often. Too many violations. And you've had some pretty harsh penalties. I personally don't think that a violation for not having the live entertainment for karaoke is the worst thing that we have had in front of us. We've had far worse. But your record makes it complicated. And I'm talking about records, right? So I think that for the last one, if I'm recalling correct, we imposed a fine and then we waived it. I think it was maybe $200 or $250 and we waived it. But for you, my thought is that we impose a fine of $300 and we not waive it, and that is because of the prior record.
So I agree with Commissioner Moore's assessment. The other thing I'm troubled with is that this establishment there continues to be a lot of 311 calls.
Oh, gosh.
And that concerns me. And so that tells me that not just this issue, and I tend to agree with my colleagues with respect to not having a license on live entertainment. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. But in light of your history and in light of a lot of the 311 calls we see, I do think you really should consider doing some outreach to the community. If you haven't, I would encourage it strongly. But that aside, I'll go along with Commissioner Moore's recommendation of a violation and a $300 fine, and hope that we don't see you again except to get a license on the live entertainment.
Thank you.
I concur, and we'll give him 30 days to pay the fine.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Next, I'll call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, investigation report from Chief Inspector Mark Fossler, and exhibit number 2, photos.
Calling the next case, Richard Swernow, Parkway Swernow Incorporated, trading as Tabrizi's Restaurant and Sorso Cafe, 1221 Key Highway. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. This is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minor. All parties will be testifying in this case. Please step forward.
Counsel.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky representing the licensee.
Mr. Kadensky, in this matter, I'm going to recuse myself, and so the other two commissioners will hear it.
This will be an admission.
Do I need to swear anybody in?
You can, they're going to testify. Might as well swear them in. That will issue them on the record.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You need their names?
Just this gentleman, the taller gentleman's.
Christopher Hannon, H-A-N-N-A-N.
I'm recusing, but is there mitigation?
Yeah, I mean, are they going to read into anything, or you just want to
You're
take?
going to stipulate to the facts, or do you want?
Their report, yes.
Okay.
And actually, I did talk with both the inspectors. They indicated to me that the staff there, everybody else couldn't have been more polite and cooperative. The person who did the serving was fired on the spot, and that the licensee here, Mr. Swernow, has been there since 1998. He has not had any history of the violation of serving minors. And I think the board would be understanding that there are multiple venues at that same area, so this would be one of the first times that they ever had serving a minor since that time. They've instituted a new process where they're putting bans on the people who are over 21 to be served. Also, they're also telling their wait staff that even if they have it and they have any question that they do not look they're old enough, that they should go ahead and check their age. They are hire security, and then visiting nights, they may have 4 or 5 people working there, generally 1 or 2. They're looking into hiring off-duty police officers to also come aboard. That seems to be a touchy area with the city right now, but they're looking into that, and I think there's a way that they can go ahead and do that. I would think that in light of the fact that this license, the BD7's been there with Mr. Swerno since 1998 and at multiple venues, and you haven't seen them here before. And if you are aware, that's a fairly large facility. There's a lot of them there. I think that's to their credit in the case.
Can you take the lead?
Sure. I'm just looking at what has been handed to us.
I don't have it, so I don't know what you're looking at.
With two letters that we've been provided. Mr. Swerno has been the owner for 18 years. Is that correct?
He developed that whole property, Harborview property. He's the developer there.
So when you say the Harborview property, you're talking about the condominiums and the townhouses?
Everything, right.
And everything, okay.
I wanted to bring a picture, but they said everybody knows it.
Yeah. Michael, are there any people from the community that want to be heard, or
I'm going to object to that. It has nothing to do with this case. And I'd make an objection as to that and to these letters because they were not present at this. This is strictly a violation hearing.
Okay. Let me just take a moment and look at these letters.
Well, I'm objecting to them, and
The date of the violation is July
7.
7, 2016. One of the letters relates to an incident that occurred arguably August 3, 2016. Because we're here for a specific date, I think I would not be inclined to hear anything related to that. The second letter is dated October 7, 2016. It says reopening a facility closed for more than 90 days. Actually closed for more than 3 years at 500 Harborview Drive. Does that relate to this?
That's not relevant.
It's not this
To this
it's not
case.
this case. So the letters are not going to be part of our considerations for today. We have an admission, and is there any mitigation?
mitigation is when I was indicated. They were very cooperative with the inspectors. They had a person on the door who happened to turn away when they came in, and they fired the person who served it. They have since instituted this whole new procedure. They have additional security. You have a place that's been there since 1998, doesn't have any of those problems. And if you understand, they have the bars, they have the breezes, it's multiple venues there. So if there was a bad place, you would see them here before serving minors, and that's not the case in this manner.
Okay, so I want to say it's a community. We are a community board. We do allow community to be heard. Here's my question. Is there anyone in the audience that has anything to add about the violation that we're here for today? And that is the serving underage a minor. And if so, I'd like to hear from you. If not, I feel it's only appropriate to defer concerns until a future date. And I'm seeing nods. If people could just stand and let me know who's here regarding Harborview. All right, so I've sort of called the question 2 times. There's been seeming acknowledgement that no one is here to talk about this violation, but it's obvious that there's some concerns. So what I'm thinking I'm getting is agreement that whatever concerns you have would be brought separately in the future. Is that, and I'm seeing nods again. So that's what we'll do. But we also have to acknowledge that there are concerns. So Mr. Swernow and Mr. Hannon. Mr. Hannon, what is your relationship to Breezy?
I operate the tiki bars for Mr. Swerno.
Okay, so this is a tiki bar issue. I'm pretty sure that's why they're here. Because the tiki bar has been in the news, right? I mean, let's not pretend. So what I would suggest, we're going to make a decision just with respect to the underage serving, and that's all we're going to do. There's been an admission, there's mitigation, but we can't ignore that there are concerns. And I know y'all have been in the business for a long time. You know how to address community, how to reach out. You have a very good attorney who can help you with that. So let me make a decision for myself, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I do find the violation. With respect to the mitigation, I recognize that this is the first time that you have been before this board on a violation. Okay, now, one thing that we can't do is have, excuse me, I'm not going to hear you from there. And you agreed with me that you wouldn't speak today, so we're going to have you honor that agreement. This is the first violation before this board. I do find that there is the violation because you've admitted it. I would impose a penalty of $500. The underage drinking is one of the most challenging violations that we hear because it directly damages community and it puts community in peril. So my finding is responsibility with a $500 fine.
I would concur with Commissioner Moore and also encourage, given the concern, that there be some outreach to the community and working with the community to address those issues. They're separate issues. I recognize it.
But one of my pet peeves is when you say the community, this is a place where there are various communities, some of which are against the other one. So I can't take one group against another. So if we would have known that, we could have had 4 other groups here, but I'm not, it's fine.
Are you inviting 4 other groups here?
We didn't know, we couldn't.
Well, so I will agree with Commissioner Moore and agree that there's a violation based on the admission and impose a $500 fine as well.
So it's a $500 fine, $125 administrative fee, 30 days to pay, and you all be guided by your own conscience and what you feel is a reasonable business response to the obvious concerns in the room that don't relate to this issue. Okay? All right. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call the exhibits for the file. Board Exhibit number 1, investigation report from Chief Inspector Mark Foster. Exhibit number 2, Sheriff's report from Deputy Perez, and exhibit number 3, photos. Thank you.
Pardon me, Commissioner Moore, how many days does the...
30
oh, you
days.
said-
Yeah, it made it clear 30 days to pay.
Thank you.
All right.
Call the next case, Wilson Contreras and Maurice Contreras, C. Smith, LLC, trading as La Bambas Liquor and Grocery, 459 Angelisa Street. It's a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. This is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Gary Maslin on behalf of the licensee. This would be an admission.
Okay. Mr. Maslin, will your client stipulate to the facts that are in the record?
We so stipulate.
Okay. Is there mitigation?
There is. This person that made this sale was trained and instructed to ask for ID. On this particular occasion, she apparently ignored those repeated cautionary advice that was given to her. Her position has since been terminated. My client is a TAM certified individual. Everyone that works in the store is certified. We have with us certificates we'd offer showing that the employees are certified. I believe this represents the very first time that this licensee has been before the board. He takes his responsibilities very seriously and was very upset by this incident, and all he could do was terminate the employee.
How many employees does he have?
How many? 2.
You just handed me 2 certificates.
Yeah,
that's why
there was 2. And he himself works there. He himself has a certificate. So there's actually 3 people that work there, but everybody that works there does have a certificate.
Okay. Commissioners?
Nothing.
I appreciate you admitting that there was a mistake made. The only thing I would note, and I don't know that it's particularly relevant to this proceeding, but our information indicates that you're not in good corporate standing with SDAT, so you may want to check that out.
We'll check into that. It's probably the accountant not following the
Personal property.
the personal property return. Normally, that's what triggers that.
Okay, if there's nothing further based on the stipulation to the facts that were alleged in the record and your client's admission of the violation, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 28, 2016, and impose a fine of $500 and give them 30 days to pay it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So I agree with the finding and the amount of the fine, and I just have to say, I understand that you terminated the employee, and I meant to say it with the prior case. We don't require that employees be terminated for any violation, and it's a business decision that you make. But I just want you to understand that that sometimes can cut both ways in terms of, ultimately it's the responsibility of the licensee to train and educate and manage their staff so that the violations don't occur. So terminating the employee isn't always, at least for this commissioner, going to be a point that is persuasive or impressive. But I concur in the finding of responsibility in the imposition of the fine.
I concur as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Makes it unanimous.
Call the exhibits for the record. Licensee Exhibit 1, 2 alcohol awareness certifications. Board Exhibit number 1, sheriff's report from Deputy Hawley. And Exhibit number 2, photos. Exhibit number 3, investigation report from Chief Inspector Mark Foster. Thank you.
Call the next case, Angriz Singh, 6400 Eastern Avenue, Incorporated, trading as Eastern Liquors, 6400 Eastern Avenue. It's a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. This is a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing the licensee. This will be an admission.
Okay. Will you stipulate to the facts?
I will.
Okay. Is there mitigation?
The mitigation is
I
that-
wouldn't say you fired the employee right now.
Sorry.
I thought he wanted.
I think that it's not, obviously, if someone makes one mistake, it's up to the owner to decide whether they can rely on the person in the future. But it's often touted as a great thing. And
They used to have that band. It was called The Great White. It was called. They had a song, "Once Bitten, Twice Shy."
I mean, if they think that some person might do it again, they have
That
every reason.
relates to dating. That doesn't relate to employment.
Not in my.
Not in your
not
day.
In my lifetime. It wasn't.
Okay.
Mr. This is the first time he's here. This happened right as they're getting ready to close at 10 o'clock. It's not an excuse, but way of mitigation. The gentleman that was with him, has been there about 3 or 4 years, worked with him off and on. As a result of that, he did have him take, and you have the alcohol awareness certificate. He sent him back to get an alcohol awareness certificate. He's still working. He did suspend him for a short period of time, but I have, and I would submit this. And he has been, and everybody was polite and cooperative in this situation. And it was a kind of situation, once it happened, he took responsibility for it and understood he's the responsible person. He's the licensee. He's going to suffer the penalty here. But he made it known to his employee that, that's not something that can be. Go take the alcohol awareness. Now there's no further excuse in the case.
Thank you. Commissioners, you have questions?
No questions.
So it was transferred, the license was transferred to you
I don't think that's the
June,
right.
is that not right? June
We have a
2016?
question on the date of the
Yeah.
transfer.
No, it's from 2011.
2011.
He hasn't
Yeah.
been sworn.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's just a factual matter, that Mr. Reporter.
Okay, so it was
The date-
transferred in 2011.
Right.
And you purchased it in 2011. So so you have a previous violation, or is that under a previous
not
owner?
at all. This is the only first violation in
Okay,
5 years.
Okay, so we have a record here, so it must have been the previous owner that had a violation of 4.15.
In August of 2011. But when did you get it, the license?
I think he took it over after that. I'm not sure, because I remember I was doing some work with this.
Yeah,
This
there
is-
was some from
that
where
was-
we bought the license.
That's right where the car wash is, out there. I'm sure you had your car washed out there next to, we used to call it Crossing Blackwell in the old days.
It's always a good history lesson with Mr. Kadensky here.
Little-known facts.
Okay, so that we cannot attribute that to you. Okay, I have no questions.
All right. Based on the stipulation to the allegations contained in the record at your client's admission of it, Mr. Konensky, I'm going to find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 28, 2016. With no prior violations, I'd impose a $500 fine and give him 30 days to pay it.
Thank you.
I concur.
I concur as well.
Okay. Thank you.
And I appreciate your response, sending back for more training and bringing the person back.
Yeah, I think suspension is probably a better way to
It's
go.
a little bit,
Any exhibits on this one?
Yes. Exhibits for the file. Board Exhibit 1, it's investigation report from Sheriff's Department, Deputy Hawley. Exhibit number 2 would be photos. Exhibit number 3 is investigation report from Chief Inspector Mark Foster, and we have one is licensee exhibit, alcohol awareness certification.
I can send it, scan and send it back to you, so you have it for your file. Otherwise, if you don't need it.
We've got to hold on to it now because it's in evidence, but, well, we can give you a copy when you come back.
That's a really good point, because we used to have overfills and booze was brought in here. I would move it into evidence so you guys would keep it, and you always give it back to the controller's office. And I would look out for you. Christmas time. No, you wouldn't keep the others. Am I right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're, it's like, what you talking about? Well, I don't, yeah.
Next time if you're here and we have a controller's, I'll move it into evidence.
We'll get you a color copy of it.
Thank you very much.
Calling Frederick Chung. Sorry. Calling Frederick Chung, James Park, and Jonathan Park, Canton Square Liquor Incorporated, trading as M&L Canton Discount Liquor, 2923 through 25 O'Donnell Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Sir, who are you?
Hello, Jonathan Park.
Okay, and can you raise your right hand, please?
You guys too. Anybody's testifying, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Mr. Park, is James Park a relative?
Father.
Father.
Yeah.
And do you know whether your father has ever been represented by the law firm Whiteford, Taylor and Preston?
I'm not aware of anything like that.
Do you have any objection to me presiding over this matter?
No.
Okay. Because I don't have any direct evidence that he did, but the name, both of those names are very common, and they showed up in my conflict sheets. So it is alleged that on July 28th, 2016, someone in your establishment sold a 12-pack of Bud Light beer bottles to an underage individual. Do you admit that or deny that?
I admit it. It was me that
Oh,
did it.
you did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't fire you.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to tell us anything so that we can consider what kind of sanction we should impose?
No, I realized I made a mistake, and since then I went and took an alcohol certificate. This is just my pocket size one.
Can you give it to Ms. Russell, please? Make it part of the record.
Is that a copy or is that a?
That's the pocket size.
That's just my pocket size.
We've
my
never
code.
seen that. I've never seen that. Have you
That's what
seen
I got. I
it?
got my certificate at work.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So I took measures into better understanding what I can do.
To prevent this from happening again?
Yeah, I realized I made the mistake.
How long have you worked there?
Since December.
Of last year?
Yep, 2015.
Okay. And I'm sorry, are you one of the owners?
Owner's son.
It's your dad who has
Yeah,
it.
my dad,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And how old are you, sir?
I'm 33.
Okay. So it's, you are certainly old enough to figure out when somebody is under 21, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else that you would like to tell us?
No, that's it.
Okay. I note for the record that we don't have any prior violations at this establishment. On the basis of your admission, candidly, to us that you violated Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 28, 2016, I find that as a fact, and I'd impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
Okay, thank you.
I agree with both.
I concur.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any exhibits on that note?
I'll read the
There was
exhibits. This
one.
is exhibit, licensees exhibit number 1, Mr. Park's alcohol awareness card. And board's exhibit number 1 is a sheriff's office incident report written by Deputy Hawley. Exhibit number 2 are pictures regarding the incident. And exhibit number 3 is a liquor board report written by Chief Inspector Mark Fossler.
Did we give him back the pocket?
We're going to.
I wanted to see it.
Right here.
Oh, it's just this, okay. Okay, all right, I see.
Mr. Park, why don't you just take a seat in the front row real quick? I'm going to make a copy of this.
Okay.
Get it back to him.
He's gonna make a copy of his certificate.
That's fine.
On the next case, Kimberly Bangs, Deborah Burry, and Phyllis Wirt, Nautical Wine Girls, LLC, trading as Chesapeake Wine Company, 2400 Boston Street, Suite 112. It's a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Would everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Ladies, what are your names?
I'm Phyllis Wirt,
Okay, W-E-R-T, right?
W-E-R-T.
And your name?
Kimberly Banks.
Okay. Are you going to admit or deny that this occurred?
Admit.
Okay. And would you stipulate that the facts that they have asserted here about what happened on July 28th are accurate?
Correct.
Okay. Do you want to tell us what went on and anything that you would like us to know about
Yes,
your
sir.
place, besides the fact that you have great shirts and jackets
Thanks.
that go with it?
Basically, I'm a retired state trooper. I've been a state trooper for 28 years. So we know the rules, and we really stress upon, when we first took over, we had no employees, so it wasn't a problem. But as we started to hire employees, we were very diligent about telling them that everybody must be carded, and we were pretty selective about who we hired. And this employee that did this is one of our most conscientious employees. He comes from a law enforcement background. His aunt is a colonel in Baltimore County Police, and quite frankly, he just got hired by Department of Public Safety. So he knows the rules. He knows exactly what he needed to do. However, he is 25 years old, and sometimes that's a liability in our situation, but we just can't hire all old people because they're not looking for jobs. So that being said, we take full responsibility for his actions. We're the owners. It's our responsibility to train. He has been, the manager on duty that night was TIPS trained. Everybody in our establishment is TIPS trained. He was not at the time, he is now. And he accepted full responsibility. He was very remorseful. And he's offered to pay the fine and take any steps he had to take. So that being said, we take full responsibility. It was our fault, nobody else's. And we can tell you, we hope it will never, ever happen again. We did not fire him. We didn't think that was necessary because he...
After what Commissioner Moore said earlier, you would have hired him anyway.
Exactly. We would have hired him back, but...
I'm sorry, I just...
Ms. Wirt, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
It's just looking at the reality of life, right? Especially life in the city and how hard things can be. I think we recognize mistake. I mean, all these people here to your left are part of that task force. There's a lot of energy put in. We take it very, very seriously. We don't want the underage drinking to happen at all. You all are clearly responsible. And it's just my own personal thing about people needing to work and people needing to have jobs. And it's hard to get jobs for some people. And it's just my own personal view, and it's hard to sit here and hear that the response to an error at work is to be immediately fired. And that's just hard for me, but that's just me. So, but I appreciate the response, and I appreciate, this person's opportunity to do better, and I certainly concur with and appreciate your testimony.
Any questions? Okay. Ladies, on the basis of the admission and the stipulation as to the facts, here on the record today, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, sales to minors on July 28, 2016. I note that you have no prior violations, and I'd impose a fine of $500 and give you 30 days to pay it.
Thank you, sir.
And I agree.
I concur as well, and also check your corporate standing. We have.
Call your accountant.
Yeah, call your accountant to see if they filed the personal property taxes. The SDAT indicates you're not in good corporate standing, so you might want to look into that.
We'll do that. I think that's the old owner.
It was.
It was the old owner. I think that was, from the note I just got, it was under Mitchell Pressman's name.
Now, well, this is under Mr. Fine.
Oh.
Yeah, Mr. Fine was a resident, is a
Yeah,
resident.
he apparently got a notice.
Yeah.
You better talk to him. Okay.
We'll check with him.
Thanks.
Thanks.
And we do love the shirt. I do love the shirt. It's a great logo.
And I'd like to call the exhibits for the file. Licensee Exhibit 1, Sheriff's Department Report, Deputy Hawley. Licensee Exhibit number 2, photos. Licensee Exhibit number 3, investigation report from Chief Inspector Mark Foster. Thank you.
And she's doing double duty today. And what was was it $500? Okay. Yeah.
On the
that's
last case
perfect.
on the
I
docket,
think it's
Clark
perfect.
Foreman and Jennifer St. Germain, Wine Co. LLC, trading as Bin 604 Wine Cellars, 1001 Fleet Street. Pardon me. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors.
Good afternoon. Would everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I didn't see you standing there, counsel. I'm sorry. Do you want to identify yourself for the record?
Problem. Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin Greenberg, on behalf of the licensee. I'm joined by Jennifer St. Germain, who is one of the Baltimore, she's the Baltimore City resident licensee, as well as Matthew Anderson, who is the manager at Bin 604, who was on duty when the incident occurred.
Okay, will it be an admission?
Yes, we'll stipulate to the facts as set forth in the violation notice.
Okay, you want to give us mitigation?
Absolutely. Not by way of excuse at all, but by way of explanation for the events that occurred. Bin 604, if you're not familiar with it, is an upscale wine shop in Harbor East. It's located next to the Whole Foods, and it's been there since, I think, 2001. They've been there for 16 years. They've never had a prior violation. On the evening in question, they, from time to time, have wine tastings, and one had occurred that evening. It had just let out. The shop was more crowded than it ordinarily would be, and they happened to be short-staffed that day, having only 3 employees instead of the 4 that they would ordinarily have. One of those employees was a brand-new hire, and in the interest of moving the line along, he saw there was a big crowd, there was a long line. He made the unfortunate decision to prioritize speed over accuracy and neglected to check the identification of the police cadet who purchased a bottle of wine that evening. He has since taken the alcoholic beverages certification and training course. I have a copy of his certificate. His employment has not been terminated. We've used this as a learning opportunity for not only for him but for the rest of the staff to reinforce the store's policy of carding everyone who appears to be under 40 years old. And they do take this very seriously. The employee himself is deeply regretful of his actions. And as a company, Bin 604 really strives to adhere to all of the rules for alcoholic beverages, and they are deeply regretful of the incident.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
No questions.
I have no questions.
Okay. On the basis of the stipulation as to the facts that were contained in the record, your admission of the violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on July 28, 2016, I find as a fact that it did occur, and I would impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay it, and that's also considering that there's no prior violations.
I agree.
I concur as well.
Thank you all.
I'd like to call the exhibits for the record. Licensee Exhibit 1, Alcohol Awareness Certification. Board Exhibit number 1 is an investigation report from Deputy Hawley, Sheriff's Department. Exhibit number 2, photos, and exhibit number 3, investigation report from Chief Inspector Mark Foster. Thank you.
I believe that's our docket, Mr. Akers. So we're in recess till next week.
Yep, correct. That concludes
Okay.
the board's docket.
All right. Thank you.
Back on a weekly basis again?
Yeah.
Looks like.